Samburu's landscape, as well as that of the surrounding parks, is very diverse. It consists not only of dry areas with shrubs and low acacias, but also of hills and rock formations, and green patches with palm trees by the riverbed. Shaba National Reserve is dotted with low hills which distinguish its landscape from that of Samburu and Buffalo Springs. In addition to that, Shaba has 4 natural springs that provide water, and therefore it is greener than its sibling parks. A couple of impalas walk nearby, accompanied by oxpeckers on their backs. The impalas are anxiously looking for the last grass blades in what is one of the driest periods ever. A gerenuk passes by. It has better chances of finding food because it is able to reach higher and can thus eat the green leaves of the acacia trees. There are 2 species of kudus. This is the greater kudu, which can be distinguished from the lesser kudu by the manes running along its throat and because it has fewer stripes. The kudu also eats acacia leaves for lack of grass, although the long thorns of the acacia tree make feeding more difficult than it already is. A female kudu without horns strolls nearby. A gerenuk family strolls cautiously through the arid landscape. Only the males have horns. The Owasso River is wide but shallow. It is a temporary river that fills up only when it rains. The last patches of damp soil foster remnants of grass on which this buffalo eagerly feeds. Zebras cross the dried-up riverbed, looking for the last scarce bits of food and water. A pride of lions gazes at the scene. Many animals are weakened by the drought, and so the lions thrive because catching prey is much easier now. However, during the heat of the day, the lions take their rest. Giraffes are commonly found in groups. Samburu is home to the reticulated giraffe, one of the 8 subspecies of giraffe. Its skin pattern is one of the most beautiful found on giraffes. Some vulturine guinea fowls are scavenging for food. Usually they live in large groups and they often make loud noises. Slowly the sun sets over Samburu as it disappears far off behind the hills. The next morning, a secretary bird searches the area for snakes and insects. Gerenuks are known for their ability to stand on their hind legs. This allows them to survive in many different kinds of areas, as long as there are acacia trees. The elephants are also affected by the drought and the lack of food. Each passing day, they lose several kilos of body weight. To obtain every last available tasty twig, they pull off branches and peel the bark off the trees in their quest for food. An elephant calf mimics its mother who searches for food. Occasionally, elephants will dig up edible roots to fill their stomach. A pair of dik-diks. Very often they stand motionless, perfectly still. Two young eagles watch the scene below them on the ground. By the side of the river, the world's only branched palm tree can be found, the down palm. This tree is often inhabited by vervet monkeys and baboons who feast on its fruits. A disconsolate-looking buffalo eyes the barren landscape, hoping for better days. Better suited to the dry season is the oryx gazelle or gemsbok. They are easily recognizable because of their long, straight horns. There is a southern and a northern species of oryx gazelle. The latter have fringed ears, as opposed to its southern siblings, which have more rounded ears. Gemsboks can live without water for a long time. They can take in fluids through the food they eat, such as wild melons. Sometimes they will dig up roots from as deep as 1 meter. A group of vervet monkeys engages in family activities such as picking fleas off each other. Despite the drought, the Owasso River continues to be a source of water. Elephants have dug holes which fill up with groundwater. Baboons, impalas, Grant's gazelles, and other animals benefit from these puddles as well. Samburu is also home to the protected Grevy's zebra, which can be distinguished from the more commonly found Burkel zebra because it has many more stripes. Some warthogs keep the zebras company. A greater kudu keeps an eye on his harem. There are other kudus present in the bushes, but they aren't always easily spotted. A giant eagle owl is perched in a tree. The viewpoint offers a beautiful panorama of the breathtaking landscape of Samburu and Buffalo Springs. Elephants return from the hills to quench their thirst in the puddles they dug earlier. A young elephant kneels to reach the water. The young elephant waits patiently for his mother to dig up something edible. Skillfully, she bites roots off the arid grass. A large baboon family has gathered by the riverside. They groom each other by picking fleas and feeding the little ones. Suddenly, there's a glimpse of a jackal, a rare sight for Samburu, contrary to other parks where jackals are frequently seen. A group of Grevy's zebras in this wide and beautiful but barren land. Farther away, a large group of gemsboks grazes just before the sun sets. Most of the tributaries of the Uwazo-Nijira River have now also run dry. A large group of female ostriches has gathered to feed on the leaves of the bushes. They don't have much choice. Shrubs and trees are the only greens left. A young elephant and its family quench their thirst in the few remaining puddles that still hold water. They appear to be more cautious than they normally are, as if to avoid spilling a single drop of water. The elephant calves also still drink their mother's milk, yet the lack of food has weakened the mothers and has reduced their milk production. These are hard times for both adult and young elephants alike. The only water now falling in the riverbed is that of the elephants themselves, not rain. The elephants of Samburu have made it through another day. It is only August yet, and rain isn't expected until November. They still have a long road ahead of them in these barren conditions. New elephants from near and far gather at the last places in the park where water can be found. Deeper inside the park, a giraffe has discovered a fair water pool from which it drinks eagerly. While drinking, giraffes are extra vigilant because this position makes them vulnerable to attacks by predators. An eagle scratches itself behind the ears, as it wonders why the gemsboks are on the run. The closer you get to the Shaba National Reserve, the more water pools you will encounter. Small whirlwinds dash across the dusty land. Slender antelopes, called klipspringers, live up in the hills, but they are difficult to spot. A giraffe has found itself a nice pole to scratch its neck on. Two male giraffes fight by trying to hit each other with their heads. In doing so, they unleash tremendous power. A leopard is usually difficult to spot. Here it is seen hauling an impala high up into a tree, so it won't be bothered by lions wanting to steal its prey. Many trees have died because elephants have removed their bark looking for food. The secretary bird, named after its peculiar gait, catches the early morning sunlight. A group of buffaloes wanders close to the river. All that is left to them is to eat the arid grass. En route during the early hours of the morning, we encounter 3 female lions with their cubs, who are looking for something to shelter them by day. As the sun rises, intense heat will soon follow, and so the lions prefer to sleep during the daytime. This shot exemplifies how difficult it can be sometimes to spot an animal. Unrecognizable in the distance underneath some bushes lies a cheetah. Several greater kudus are close to the cheetah, but cheetahs aren't likely to hunt for such strong prey during the heat of the day. If you see dead prey hanging in a tree, then the leopard cannot be far away. Several meters further on lies this powerful cat, hiding in the shadows. It is always fun to watch young baboons horse around. These younglings are playing with their older brother. Some of them are picking fleas, others are enjoying themselves in the shade of a tree. older baboons are keeping watch on the young ones and take them back to their mothers. Elephants flap their ears to cool off their blood, which passes through a network of vessels laid out across their ears. In doing so, they are able to lower their body temperature. A very large troop of around 100 baboons traverses the park, to then disappear in the shrubs before dusk sets in. A Grant's gazelle desperately searches for food. Still, these animals do not look malnourished, and it is incredible that they are able to find something edible in this barren yet beautiful landscape. Unfortunately, this drought claims many victims, such as this elephant. Along the river there are several small marshes that are like oases in this otherwise arid landscape. Various water birds, and certainly also the waterbuck antelope, feel at home here. However, it is definitely not safe in these marshes. Nile crocodiles are waiting patiently for an unsuspecting passerby. A couple of buffaloes are in luck when they find a patch of green grass in a gully. Elephants move across the arid lands. They have to cover greater distances to fill their daily need of 200 kilos of food. Elephants and oryxes are appropriately camouflaged for this dry landscape. A group of waterbucks. As their name implies, this is not their normal environment. Impalas stroll through the dusty bushes. A mother elephant and her two calves, 1 and 2 years old, have just gorged themselves on a large amount of water in a tributary that hasn't yet run dry. Mature elephants will drink an average of 100 liters of water a day. As they head back, they are met by a boisterous young bull. For a brief moment, they feel each other out. Then the little one takes the first step to greet him. The young bull returns the courtesy, but the second calf turns away from the young male and lets him pass. Again, the young bull reciprocates the gesture. Now that he has sensed the water up ahead, the bull speeds up, eager to feast on the water. The lions we saw earlier have taken shelter under some shrubs to protect them from the scorching heat of the afternoon sun. A cheetah nearby has lost sight of his brother, with whom he was hunting for impala. Luckily, his brother succeeded in killing the antelope. After he finds his brother and their prey, he immediately throws himself onto the carcass. This meal is short-lived though. The intense effort in the searing heat has taken its toll on the cheetahs. They must first catch their breath and reduce their body temperature before they can eat. The water has receded into a tributary, and with it the Nile crocodiles. Out of sheer necessity, a host of crocodiles has gathered in the river's side arm. They will remain there until the main channel swells up again. Buffaloes are among the most dangerous animals you can encounter on foot. They have made many casualties in Africa. Buffaloes are always alert, and their fixed, staring look is testimony to their fierceness. A pair of buffaloes crosses the marshes. A water bird, known as the great white egret, trails behind them. A narrow gully draws a green line across the arid landscape. A herd of elephants gratefully drinks from the remaining water before gathering in the shade of a tree. The family lines up in a circle, thus forming an impenetrable wall around the center where the calves can take a nap, safe from lions. A little further downstream in Shaba National Reserve, the Iwazunijiro River still holds water, but only a couple of centimeters deep. Here, the river is also fed by subterranean currents seeping through the volcanic rock. The river's side arm, which at times can be so powerful that it alters the flow of the water, has now also dried up. A few months later, after the rain season, the Iwazunijiro River has transformed beyond recognition into a wild, brown current. The river's name is derived from the language spoken by the local people and means River of the Brown Water. Vervet monkeys move through the treetops, watched by a wood hoopoe. A kukul perches on the riverbank beside the fiercely flowing water. Nothing reminds of the barren, desert-like landscape. Baboons and water bucks linger in the tall grass of the river's washland and fill their stomachs with the fresh blades of grass. Herds of elephants again stand out in the landscape, and they can get their body weight back to normal. Female elephants and their younglings live in groups separate from the males. On average, a bull leaves the herd when he is 5 years old. He then goes on to live alone or in small groups of fellow males, only to return to the herd during the mating season when he's in must. This particular bull keeps a close eye on us, but apart from that, he doesn't seem to be concerned by our presence. Bachelor bulls roaming across the plains regularly fight each other to test their strength and to prove themselves. Especially when they are in must during the mating season, things can get very rough. Sometimes these challenges can take hours, but no matter how long it takes, in the end, someone always concedes defeat by turning and walking away. Only a few months ago, the elephants dug holes in the dry riverbed to reach the water below the surface. Today, that same river and its surroundings have changed beyond recognition. A group of dwarf mongoose lives in an old dead tree. Sometimes these small animals live in termite mounds. Either way, they are an integral part of the ecosystem of the park. A vulturine guinea fowl calls out loud to one of its kind on top of a termite mound, to which a mongoose just returns who calls it home. A group of giraffes fills their stomach on acacia leaves. An oxpecker keeps this giraffe free from parasites such as ticks. A large troop of baboons is enjoying itself in the washlands of the river. They're playing, mating, fighting, picking fleas, or just being lazy. There's always something that keeps a baboon occupied. Some oryxes are lying in the tall grass and attempt to keep the flies at bay by flapping their ears. They must be happy too that there is food in abundance once again. Samburu is located at 800 to 1200 meters above sea level, and because of that, clouds sometimes seem to drift by close to the ground, which makes for a spectacular sight. The fast-flowing river carries thousands of liters of water, and in doing so, it also washes away memories of the barren, dry season. The Shaba Reserve has become green again as well. A monitor lizard trails along the riverbank in search of eggs, birds, or carrions. The Nile crocodile is much larger than the lizard and can be up to 6 meters long and weigh as much as 1,000 kilos. Patiently, they will wait hour after hour for a prey to pass by. If necessary, they'll wait for days. Meanwhile, a young martial eagle searches the land for prey. Shaba, Samburu, and Buffalo Springs are home to 380 other species of birds. A large group of impalas and giraffes against the backdrop of the Samburu and Shaba hills is a typical scene for these beautiful parks. If a female giraffe is around during the mating season, the giraffe bulls get serious. Fighting erupts, and the swaying necks of giraffes trying to defeat their opponent with a headbutt can be spotted from far away across this vast landscape. A young bull isn't taken with our visit, and demonstrates this clearly with a mock attack. Soon after, he decides that food is more important than occupying himself with our presence. In some parts of the Buffalo Springs and Shaba parks, the soil is white. Even the termite mounds that arise from the ground are white as a sheet and provide a very distinct sight. A Somali ostrich, distinguishable by its blue legs, makes its way into Shaba through the scorching heat. And on that note ends our visit to Samburu, Buffalo Springs, and Shaba.